No way! Did you just catch the toughest creature to hunt with your bare hands? Adam King wiped sweat from his bald head as he trudged through the dense alien foliage. The leather straps of his sleeveless armor chafed against his muscular shoulders, and the weight of his twin swords pressed against his back. 3 days of hiking through this god-forsaken jungle, and he was no closer to finding help. Should have brought more rations, he muttered, pushing aside a broad leaf that dripped with luminescent sap. Should have brought a damn map. His mission was simple: locate the settlement of the Cerulean hunters and negotiate for their aid. The colony needed allies against the Voidborn raiders, and these legendary huntresses were said to be the best trackers in the sector. What the briefing hadn't mentioned was how impossible their territory would be to navigate. A twig snapped somewhere ahead. Adam froze, hand instinctively reaching for the hilt of his sword. Years of combat had honed his reflexes to razor sharpness. He crouched, moving silently toward the sound. The clearing appeared suddenly, a perfect circle of short blue grass surrounded by towering trees. In the center stood a slender figure, with skin the color of a clear summer sky. Her snow-white hair was styled in an elegant updo, adorned with small bones and feathers. The leather outfit she wore highlighted her athletic figure, while providing freedom of movement. Adam stepped into the clearing, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "I come seeking—" The whistle of an arrow interrupted him as it embedded itself in the tree trunk, inches from his head. "There is no place for a primitive creature like you here," the blue-skinned woman declared. Another arrow already knocked. Her accent was strange, but her words clear. "Leave our territory immediately." Adam didn't move. "I've come on behalf of the New Terra colony. We need your help." "Humans!" She spat the word like a curse. "Always needing, always taking. Your kind brings nothing but destruction." "Look, I've walked for 3 days to find you. At least hear me out before you shoot me." The huntress lowered her bow slightly. "You walked? Where is your transport?" "Crashed about 80 miles south. I'm the only survivor." Something flickered across her face. Surprise, perhaps even respect, before her expression hardened again. "It changes nothing. The Council has forbidden contact with humans." "Then I'll build my own shelter and find my own food," Adam replied, turning away. "When you're ready to talk, I'll be nearby." "You won't survive a week in these jungles," she called after him. Adam glanced back with a grin that had charmed and infuriated people across 3 star systems. "Watch me." 3 days later, Adam had constructed a rudimentary shelter from fallen branches and broad leaves. He'd found a stream with water that his filters deemed safe and identified several edible fruits. Still, protein was becoming an issue. He needed to hunt. The jungle was alive with potential prey, but most creatures moved too quickly through the dense undergrowth for him to track effectively. After hours of frustration, he spotted a small, 6-legged creature drinking at the stream's edge. It resembled a cross between a rabbit and a lizard, with iridescent scales and twitching ears. Adam had seen similar creatures being prepared by the huntresses when he'd scouted their settlement. If they ate it, it was probably safe for humans. Moving silently, he positioned himself downwind. The creature remained oblivious, lapping at the water. Adam tensed, calculating the distance. Then, in one fluid motion, he launched himself forward. The creature sensed him at the last moment and leaped, but Adam's hand shot out with lightning speed, catching it by its hind legs. It thrashed wildly, razor-sharp claws slashing at his arm. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Adam delivered a swift, merciful blow to the creature's neck. "Not bad for a primitive creature," came a familiar voice. Adam turned to find the blue-skinned huntress perched on a boulder, watching him with undisguised curiosity. "Dinner?" he replied, holding up his prize. "Care to join me?" She jumped down gracefully. "You caught a Nexu with your bare hands. Is that what it's called? Feisty little thing?" "Warriors of my clan trained for years to hunt Nexu. They are the swiftest, most dangerous small game in our forests," she approached, examining his catch with newfound interest. "No human has ever caught one without weapons or traps." Adam shrugged. "First time for everything." "No way!" she exclaimed, her formal demeanor cracking slightly. "Did you just catch the toughest creature to hunt with your bare hands?" "I got lucky," Adam admitted. "It was focused on drinking." "Luck is part of the hunt," she replied. I am Lanaya of the Cerulean Hunters. Perhaps we should discuss why you have come to our world." Adam smiled, offering his free hand. "Adam King, New Terra Colony. And I'd be honored to share my dinner with you." As they walked back to his shelter, Adam couldn't help noticing how Lanaya studied his movements, her eyes lingering on the muscles of his arms and back. For his part, he admired the graceful way she navigated the jungle, her blue skin almost glowing in the dappled sunlight. "Your shelter is adequate," she said, examining his handiwork, "for a human." "High praise indeed," Adam chuckled, setting about preparing the Nexu. "So will you at least hear what I came to say?" Lanaya settled cross-legged on a flat stone, watching as he skillfully dressed the creature. "I will listen, but I promise nothing." As Adam worked, he explained the situation. The Voidborn raids that had decimated the colony's outposts, the need for skilled trackers who knew the terrain, the resources they could offer in exchange. "Your problems do not concern us," Lanaya said when he finished. "The Voidborn avoid our territory." "For now," Adam replied. "But if new Terra falls, you'll be next. They don't stop until everything is consumed." Lanaya frowned, absently touching a scar on her forearm. "I cannot speak for the council, but I will bring your words to them. That's all I ask." As the Nexu cooked over the small fire, an awkward silence fell between them. Finally, Lanaya spoke again. "How did you learn to hunt? Your movements are different from other humans I have observed." Adam turned the meat, considering his answer. "I grew up on a frontier world, had to learn young or starve. Later, I trained with the Rangers. Rangers, elite scouts. We specialize in survival and reconnaissance in hostile environments." Lanaya nodded appreciatively. "That explains much, though not how you caught a Nexu." Adam grinned. "Some things can't be explained, they just happen." Their eyes met across the fire, and something electric passed between them. Lanaya looked away first, but not before Adam caught the hint of a smile on her blue lips. "The meat is ready," he said, offering her the first portion. As they ate, the barriers between them began to lower. Lanaya spoke of her clan's traditions, of hunts that lasted weeks and coming-of-age rituals that tested courage and skill. Adam shared stories of distant worlds and close escapes. Night fell, and still they talked. When Lanaya finally rose to leave, she seemed reluctant. "I will return tomorrow," she said. "The council must be informed of your presence, but I believe they should hear your words directly." "I'll be here," Adam replied. Lanaya hesitated, then added, "Perhaps I could show you better hunting grounds. If you insist on staying, I'd like that." After she disappeared into the darkness, Adam stared into the dying embers of the fire. For the first time since the crash, he felt a glimmer of hope, not just for his mission, but for something he hadn't expected to find on this alien world. Connection. Dawn broke over the alien jungle in a riot of magenta and gold. Adam awoke to the sound of movement outside his shelter. He reached for his blade, then relaxed when Lanaya ducked through the entrance, carrying a bundle wrapped in broad leaves. "You sleep like prey," she remarked, setting down her package. "I could have taken your head 3 times before you woke." Adam stretched, unabashed by her criticism or his state of undress. "Maybe I knew it was you." Her eyes lingered on his muscled torso before she looked away. "I brought proper food. Your cooking methods are primitive." "Thanks," he said, accepting the offering. Inside the leaves were strips of dried meat and something resembling purple berries. "So what's the verdict? Will the council see me?" Lanaya sat cross-legged opposite him. "They will, but they are not convinced of your worth or your claims about the Voidborn." "Fair enough. When do we leave?" "Midday," she replied. "First, I must assess your skills further. One lucky catch does not make a hunter." Adam grinned. "Didn't realize I was being evaluated." "Everything is a test, human." Her tone was serious, but a playful light danced in her eyes. "Especially for outsiders who wish to enter our settlement." After breakfast, Lanaya led him deeper into the jungle. She moved with fluid grace, barely disturbing the undergrowth. Adam followed, matching her pace despite his larger frame. "Your movement is acceptable," she conceded after an hour of silent travel, "for someone with such heavy footfalls." High praise from a cerulean, Adam replied. I'm flattered. Do not become overconfident. Nexia is watching us. Adam raised an eyebrow. Nexia? My sister, the greatest tracker in our clan. Linnea gestured subtly toward the canopy above. She believes you are dangerous. And what do you believe? Linnea's blue skin seemed to shimmer in the dappled sunlight. I believe you are unusual. For a human. They reached a small clearing dominated by a massive tree with iridescent bark. Linnea stopped, turning to face him. The council has set 3 trials for you, she announced. Complete them, and they will hear your proposal. Fail, and you must leave our territory forever. Let me guess. The first trial starts now? Yes, and Nexia has ensured it will not be easy. Linnea pointed to a narrow path leading deeper into the jungle. She has released a mature Nexu in that direction. You must track and capture it alive before sundown. Adam frowned. A mature Nexu? The one I caught yesterday was just a baby. Yes, the adults are significantly more challenging. Linnea's expression remained neutral, but Adam detected concern in her voice. Few of our hunters attempt such a feat alone. And if I refuse, then our conversation ends here. Adam studied her face, searching for any hint of deception. Finding none, he nodded. Lead the way. As they followed the trail, Linnea moved closer to him, her voice dropping to a whisper. Nexia set this trial believing you would fail. She disapproves of my interest in you? Your interest? Adam asked, not bothering to hide his smile. Linnea's skin darkened slightly. A blush, he realized. Professional interest in your skills. Of course. My sister is protective. Since our mother's death, she has led our family unit. She believes humans are unpredictable, dangerous. She's not entirely wrong, Adam admitted, but I'm not here to cause trouble. I know. Linnea stopped suddenly, placing a hand on his arm. The touch sent an unexpected jolt through him. But be warned, Nexia will not make this fair. She has likely agitated the Nexu before releasing it. Adam covered her hand with his own. Thanks for the warning. Their eyes met, and for a moment the jungle seemed to fade away. Linnea's lips parted slightly, and Adam found himself leaning closer. A harsh voice shattered the moment. Sister! You were to guide him to the trial, not assist him. A taller huntress dropped from the canopy, landing silently before them. Her skin was a deeper blue than Linnea's, and her white hair was cut short in a practical style. Unlike Linnea's more decorative attire, she wore functional leather armor adorned with teeth and claws, trophies from successful hunts. Nexia, Linnea acknowledged, stepping away from Adam. I was explaining the parameters of the trial. With your hands? Nexia's cold gaze shifted to Adam. Human, the trial begins now. Capture the Nexu alive by sundown or leave our lands. And where exactly is this Nexu? Adam asked, matching her icy tone. Nexia's lips curved in a predatory smile. That is part of the challenge. Find it. With that, she leaped back into the trees, disappearing among the foliage. Your sister's charming, Adam muttered. She is the finest hunter in our clan, Linnea replied defensively, and she has reason to distrust outsiders. Care to elaborate? Linnea hesitated. Another time, perhaps. Now you must focus on the trial. Adam nodded, surveying the jungle around them. Any tips you're allowed to share? Adult Nexu prefer higher ground. They hunt from the trees. Linnea pointed to a ridge in the distance. That would be a likely territory, but be cautious. Their claws contain a mild paralytic toxin. Now you tell me, you were in no danger yesterday. Juvenile Nexu have not yet developed the toxin. She paused and then added softly, I would not wish to see you harmed, Adam. The way she said his name sent another jolt through him. I'll be careful. I should not say this, but Linnea stepped closer, her voice barely audible. If you succeed in this trial, Nexia will only make the next one harder. She sees how I look at you, and she disapproves. And how do you look at me exactly? Adam asked, his voice equally soft. Instead of answering, Linnea reached up, her fingers tracing the line of his jaw. The touch was feather-light but left his skin burning. Succeed in your trials, human, she whispered. Then perhaps you will discover the answer. Before he could respond, she turned and melted into the jungle, leaving Adam alone with the impossible task before him. The sun hung low in the alien sky, casting long shadows through the jungle canopy as Adam approached the cerulean settlement with his prize. The adult Nexu, restrained but very much alive, snarled and thrashed in the makeshift harness he'd fashioned from vines and strips of his own undershirt. Capturing the beast had been a near impossible task. Twice it had almost taken his head off, and the shallow cuts on his arms burned from the creature's paralytic toxin. Only his ranger training had kept him from succumbing to its effects. A small crowd of blue-skinned huntresses gathered at the settlement's edge, their expressions ranging from disbelief to grudging respect. Lanaya pushed through them, her eyes widening at the sight of him. "By the ancestor," she breathed, "you actually did it." Adam grinned through his exhaustion. "Told you I was lucky?" "This was not luck," she replied, inspecting the Nexu's restraints with professional appreciation. "This was skill." From the crowd stepped Nexia, her face a mask of cold fury. "Releasing it into the containment pen will complete the trial," she announced loudly. Adam nodded and followed her directions to a sturdy enclosure. With careful movements, he maneuvered the snarling Nexu inside and released the harness. Leaping back as the creature lunged at him, the heavy gate slammed shut just in time. Scattered applause broke out among the gathered huntresses. Adam turned to find Lanaya beaming at him, her earlier reserve melting away. "The council will be impressed," she said. "Few of our own hunters could have accomplished this." "Not so fast, sister." Nexia's voice cut through the moment like a blade. "The human has passed only the first trial. 2 more remain." "The council agreed to meet with him after the trials," Lanaya countered. "He needs rest and treatment for those wounds." "The second trial can wait until morning," Nexia conceded. "But I propose an alternative third trial." The gathered huntresses murmured among themselves. Clearly, this was unexpected. "What alternative?" Lanaya demanded. Nexia's lips curved into a predatory smile. "Combat, the human against me. If he truly seeks alliance with our clan, he must prove his worth as a warrior, not just a hunter." "That wasn't the agreement," Lanaya protested. "The council has approved my request," Nexia replied smoothly. "Unless the human fears to face me." Adam stepped forward. "I don't fear you, but I didn't come here to fight. Yet fight is what humans do best, is it not?" Nexia circled him, assessing. "Or perhaps your skills are limited to capturing juvenile prey." The insult hung in the air. Adam felt the eyes of every huntress upon him. "I accept your challenge," he said finally. "After the second trial." Nexia nodded, satisfied. "Tomorrow at midday you will face the second trial. At sunset you will face me." She turned to leave, then added over her shoulder, "Lanaya, see to his wounds. We wouldn't want him at a disadvantage." After Nexia departed, the crowd dispersed, leaving Adam alone with Lanaya. "Your sister really doesn't like me," he observed. "It's not personal," Lanaya sighed, guiding him toward a small dwelling at the settlement's edge. "She distrusts all outsiders, especially males." Inside the dwelling, soft bioluminescent fungi provided gentle illumination. The single room was sparsely furnished but comfortable, with woven mats covering the floor and various hunting trophies adorning the walls. "Sit," Lanaya instructed, gesturing to a low pallet. She retrieved a clay pot from a shelf and knelt before him. "Remove your armor. I need to treat those cuts before the toxin spreads further." Adam complied, wincing as the movement pulled at his wounds. Lanaya's fingers were cool against his skin as she applied a greenish paste to each cut. "This will neutralize the toxin," she explained. "The numbness should fade by morning." "Thanks." Adam watched her work, admiring the concentration in her expression. "So what's the real reason Nexia challenged me?" Lanaya's hands paused momentarily. "She believes I am too interested in you." "And is she right?" Their eyes met, and the air between them seemed to thicken. Lanaya resumed her ministrations, her touch lingering longer than necessary. "In our culture," she said carefully, "attraction between warriors is natural. Physical compatibility is as important as skill in battle or the hunt." "Sounds sensible to me," Adam replied, his voice rougher than he intended. "But bonding with outsiders is rare. Nexia fears I will be blinded by fascination with your differences. Linaya's fingers traced the edge of a scar on his shoulder. Humans are so unlike us. Your skin, your warmth. Adam caught her hand, holding it against his chest. Different can be good. Linaya's breath caught. Nexia will not fight fairly tomorrow. She means to humiliate you, to prove humans are inferior. I've faced worse odds. You don't understand. She is our finest warrior. No male has defeated her in combat since she came of age. Adam smiled. There's a first time for everything. Linaya shook her head, but couldn't help returning his smile. Your confidence is either admirable or foolish. I haven't decided which. Maybe both. He released her hand reluctantly. So what's the second trial? Navigation. You must find your way through the mirror labyrinth to retrieve a sacred token. She hesitated. It's disorienting. Many hunters have been lost for days. Sounds fun, Linaya laughed, the sound musical and unexpected. You are strange, Adam King. Most would be terrified. Life's too short for fear, he replied, especially when there are more interesting emotions available. The air between them charged again. Linaya leaned closer, her white hair falling forward like a curtain around them. In my culture, she whispered, a warrior who succeeds in a great hunt is entitled to celebrate their victory. And how do cerulean warriors celebrate? Adam asked, his heart racing. Instead of answering, Linaya closed the distance between them. Her lips were softer than he expected, cool at first but warming quickly against his own. The kiss deepened, tentative exploration giving way to hunger. When they finally parted, both breathing heavily, Linaya's blue skin had darkened several shades. That, she said, is how we begin a celebration. Adam pulled her closer. I like your customs. As night fell over the alien settlement, two warriors from different worlds discovered that some languages require no translation. In the privacy of Linaya's dwelling, they mapped the uncharted territory between their species, finding more similarities than differences in the ancient dance of attraction. Morning would bring new challenges, but for now they celebrated a victory against prejudice and fear. The first step toward a true alliance. Dawn broke over the cerulean settlement, bathing the dwellings in soft lavender light. Adam awoke with Linaya curled against him, her blue skin contrasting beautifully with the amber hue of his own. He traced the intricate patterns that adorned her shoulder, markings he now knew represented her hunting achievements. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. You should be resting, she murmured. The mirror labyrinth awaits. Couldn't sleep, he admitted. Too busy thinking about our cultural exchange. Linaya's lips curved into a smile. You adapted to our customs admirably. I'm a quick study. He brushed a strand of white hair from her face, though I might need more practice. She laughed, pressing a quick kiss to his lips before rising. Later, perhaps. Now you must prepare for the second trial. As they dressed, Adam noticed Linaya's movements were tense, her earlier playfulness replaced by concern. What aren't you telling me about this labyrinth? He asked. She hesitated. It's not just physically challenging. The mirrors, they show things, memories, fears, desires. Many warriors become trapped in their own reflections. Mind games, huh? Not my favorite, but I'll manage. Linaya touched his arm. Be careful, Adam. Find the token and return quickly. Don't linger before any mirror too long. Outside, the settlement was already bustling with activity. Several huntresses nodded respectfully to Adam as they passed, a marked change from the previous day's suspicion. Word of his Nexu capture had clearly spread. Nexia was nowhere to be seen, but a group of cerulean elders waited at the settlement's center. Among them stood a tall, distinguished huntress whose elaborate garments and numerous trophies marked her as a leader. The council matriarch, Linaya whispered. She rarely oversees trials personally. The matriarch studied Adam with piercing eyes. Human, she addressed him formally. You have passed the first trial with unexpected skill. Are you prepared for the second? I am, Adam replied with equal formality. Then follow. She turned without waiting for a response, leading the procession toward the jungle's edge. After a short journey, they arrived at a clearing dominated by a structure unlike anything Adam had seen. Towering walls of what appeared to be polished metal formed a perfect circle, with a single narrow entrance. The morning sunlight reflected off the surfaces in dazzling, disorienting patterns. "The mirror labyrinth," the matriarch announced. "Within lies a token, a small crystal carving of our ancestral beast. Retrieve it, and you may proceed to the final trial." "Any rules I should know?" Adam asked. "Only one. What you take from the labyrinth, you keep." The cryptic response was accompanied by a knowing look that Adam couldn't interpret. As the ceruleans took positions around the perimeter, an elderly huntress approached Adam. Her once blue skin had faded to a pale azure, and her white hair had thinned, but her eyes remained sharp. "Human," she said quietly, glancing around to ensure they weren't overheard. "I am Ashara, mother's sister to the matriarch." Adam bowed slightly, recognizing her status. "An honor. I have witnessed many trials, but never has an outsider progressed this far." She pressed something small and cool into his palm. "When you face Nexia, remember, her left side is weaker, an old injury never properly healed." Adam concealed his surprise, closing his fingers around the object, a small stone etched with unfamiliar symbols. "Why help me?" he asked. Ashara's gaze drifted to Lanaya, who stood conversing with the matriarch. "Not all of us feared change. Some remember when humans and ceruleans fought side by side." Before Adam could question her further, she melted back into the crowd. He pocketed the stone, mind racing with implications. Lanaya approached, her expression carefully neutral before the watching crowd. "It's time," she said formally. "May your path be true?" The double meaning wasn't lost on him. He nodded, then turned to face the labyrinth entrance. The moment he stepped inside, the world changed. The narrow passage opened into a chamber where every surface, walls, floor, ceiling, reflected his image. But something was wrong. The reflections moved independently, showing Adam in various stages of his life. In one, he was a child on the frontier world, watching raiders burn his home. In another, he was a young ranger recruit, bloody but unbowed after his first combat. In a third, he stood in his current form, but with Lanaya beside him, both of them older, surrounded by figures that were neither fully human nor cerulean. "Focus," he muttered to himself. "It's just tricks." He chose a passage at random, forcing himself to look only at the floor. Even there, memories played out. Some real, some imagined, some feared. He glimpsed his fallen comrades from battles past, the colony he'd left vulnerable by coming here, and strangely, Nexia standing over Lanaya's broken form. "Not real," he growled, pushing forward. The labyrinth seemed to respond to his determination, the passages growing narrower, the reflections more personal. He saw himself through others' eyes as the colony saw him, their protector as his enemies saw him, a relentless threat as Lanaya saw him, powerful, strange, desirable. That last image nearly stopped him in his tracks. The depth of emotion in Lanaya's perspective was staggering. Not just physical attraction, but genuine admiration, concern, and something deeper taking root. "Keep moving," he ordered himself. After what felt like hours, Adam entered a circular chamber at the labyrinth's heart. In its center, on a small pedestal, sat a crystal figurine, the token. But as he approached, the floor beneath him shifted, becoming a perfect mirror that showed not his reflection, but Lanaya's. She stood in the council chamber, defending him before the matriarch. "He is worthy," her reflection insisted. "His strength, his adaptability, these are qualities our clan needs." The scene shifted. Now Lanaya faced Nexia in what appeared to be ritual combat, fighting for the right to choose her own mate. Blood streaked her blue skin as she faltered under her sister's superior strength. "No!" Adam lunged for the token, breaking the vision. As his fingers closed around the crystal, a final reflection appeared, himself and Lanaya standing before the colony's ruins, surrounded by void-born destruction. In the vision, they led a mixed force of humans and ceruleans in a desperate last stand. The message was clear. Their fates were intertwined, for better or worse. Clutching the token, Adam retraced his steps. The return journey proved easier, as if the labyrinth had delivered its message, and now released him willingly. When he emerged, squinting in the bright sunlight, a murmur ran through the gathered ceruleans. He'd been inside less than an hour, a record he would later learn. Linnea rushed forward, relief evident in her expression. "You found it!" Adam held up the crystal figurine, a perfect representation of a Nexu in mid-pounce. Wasn't so bad, he lied. The matriarch approached, her expression unreadable. The human succeeds again, she announced. The final trial will commence at sunset. As the procession returned to the settlement, Linnea walked close beside him. What did you see? She whispered. Adam thought of the visions, the past, the possible futures, the depth of Linnea's feelings, and the looming threat to both their peoples. The truth, he answered simply, or at least a version of it. His hand found hers briefly, their fingers intertwining out of sight of the others. In his pocket, Ashara's stone seemed to pulse with warmth, a reminder that not all ceruleans opposed their connection. Sunset would bring the confrontation with Nexia. A battle he now understood was about far more than a pride or proving his worth. It was about the future, not just his and Linnea's, but their people's. And thanks to an unexpected ally, he might just have a fighting chance. The settlement buzzed with anticipation as sunset approached. Cerulean huntresses gathered in a wide circular arena at the village center, their voices a melodic hum of excitement and speculation. Word of the human who had passed 2 impossible trials had spread, drawing even the most reclusive clan members to witness the final challenge. In Linnea's dwelling, Adam prepared himself, donning the lightweight armor she had provided, a concession from the council that had infuriated Nexia. The left side, Adam murmured, practicing a feint followed by a quick strike. How did she injure it? Linnea adjusted a leather strap across his shoulder. A hunting expedition 5 cycles ago. A predator we call the Shadow Stalker, similar to your Earth Panthers from your description. She killed it, but not before it tore through her side. And she still fights? Nexia would rather die than show weakness. Linnea's fingers lingered on his chest. She is proud, like someone else I know. Adam caught her hand, pressing it against his heart. Difference is, I know when to accept help. Their eyes met, and the air between them charged with unspoken emotion. Last night's intimacy had changed something fundamental between them, a bridge across their differences that neither had expected to find. Adam, Linnea began hesitantly, if you defeat Nexia, there will be consequences. In our culture, to best a clan leader in combat, a horn sounded, interrupting her. 3 long, resonant notes echoed through the settlement. It's time, she said instead, her expression troubled. They walked to the arena together, though Linnea was required to join the other huntresses once they arrived. Adam stood alone at the entrance, taking in the scene. The arena floor was packed earth, surrounded by tiered seating carved into living trees. At the far side sat the council matriarch and her advisors, including Ashara, who gave him an almost imperceptible nod. Nexia already waited in the center, her athletic form adorned with ritual markings. She held 2 short spears, their tips gleaming in the fading light. The matriarch rose. The final trial begins, her voice carried effortlessly across the arena. Combat to submission, not death. The human Adam King against Nexia, hunt leader of the Cerulean clan. Adam stepped forward, accepting the identical spears offered by a young huntress. They were perfectly balanced, the craftsmanship superior to anything he'd seen in human colonies. Impressive weapons, he remarked as he approached Nexia. They will look better embedded in the ground beside your defeated form, she replied coldly. The matriarch raised her hand. Begin! Nexia attacked immediately, her movements a blur of controlled aggression. And Adam parried, testing her defenses while watching for any sign of weakness on her left side. She was good, possibly the best fighter he'd ever faced, but Ashara's information proved accurate. When forced to pivot left, Nexia compensated with a slight shift in stance. The crowd roared as they exchanged blows, neither gaining advantage. Adam fought defensively, conserving energy while studying her patterns. Nexia grew frustrated, her attacks becoming more forceful but less precise. Fight properly, human, she snarled. Or do males of your species lack courage as well as skill? Adam didn't rise to the bait. Instead, he executed a complex feint he learned from ranger combat instructors, drawing her into overextending. When she lunged, he sidestepped and struck. Not at her vulnerable left side, but at her right spear, knocking it from her grip. The crowd gasped. Nexia's eyes widened in genuine surprise, before narrowing with renewed determination. She fought even more fiercely with her remaining weapon, driving Adam back toward the arena's edge. "You cannot win," she hissed. "Linnea deserves a true warrior, not some alien curiosity." "Is that what this is about?" Adam blocked a vicious thrust. "You're afraid I'll take her from your clan?" "I'm afraid you'll get her killed." Nexia's voice cracked with unexpected emotion. "The Voidborn destroyed our sister clan when they allied with outsiders." The revelation momentarily distracted Adam, allowing Nexia to sweep his legs. He hit the ground hard, rolling to avoid her follow-up strike. As he regained his footing, a commotion erupted at the arena entrance. 3 huntresses burst in, dragging a struggling figure between them. Its skin was mottled gray, its limbs too long and jointed in wrong places. Even from a distance, Adam recognized the distinctive features of a Voidborn scout. "Matriarch," one huntress called. "We found it at the eastern boundary." The arena erupted in chaos. The matriarch rose, signaling for silence. But the captured Voidborn chose that moment to break free. It lunged toward the nearest cerulean, razor-sharp claws extended. Without hesitation, Adam hurled his spear. It struck with perfect accuracy, pinning the creature's arm to a wooden post. Nexia's spear followed an instant later, impaling its torso. The Voidborn scout collapsed, black ichor pooling beneath its twitching form. Silence fell over the arena. Adam and Nexia stood side by side, both breathing heavily, their combat forgotten in the face of a common enemy. The matriarch descended from her seat, approaching the fallen creature. After examining it briefly, she turned to Adam. "You spoke truth about the Voidborn threat," she acknowledged. "The scout would have been followed by raiders within days." "They're expanding their territory," Adam confirmed. "Just as I warned." "The trial is suspended," the matriarch announced. "The council will convene immediately to discuss this development." As the huntresses dispersed, Linnea rushed to Adam's side. "Are you injured?" "I'm fine," he assured her, "but we need to prepare. Where there's one scout, there will be more." Nexia finished, approaching them. Her expression remained stern, but the open hostility had vanished. "You fought well, human, and your warning was timely." Coming from her, it was high praise indeed. Adam nodded acknowledgement. "Your skill is as legendary as they say." A ghost of a smile touched Nexia's lips. "We will continue our match another time. For now," she glanced at the dead Voidborn, "we have more pressing concerns." As she walked away, Linnea exhaled slowly. "That's the closest to approval you'll ever get from her." "I'll take it," Adam replied, "though I'm more concerned about what she said during our fight." "About your sister clan?" Linnea's expression darkened. "The Northern Clan. They formed an alliance with off-worlders. Not humans, but traitors from the Orion systems. The Voidborn targeted them first, using their outpost as an entry point. And Nexia blames all outsiders since then. Can you blame her?" "We lost many sisters in that attack." Linnea touched his arm. "But you've proven different. Your warning, your willingness to fight for us, the council will see that now." Adam covered her hand with his own. "I didn't come here just for an alliance anymore, Linnea." Her blue skin darkened with emotion. "Nor do I merely seek a strategic advantage for my clan." Around them, the settlement transformed into a hive of activity as huntresses prepared defenses and gathered weapons. The peaceful evening had become a prelude to war, yet in the midst of impending danger, Adam felt an unexpected clarity. "Whatever comes next," he said softly, "we face it together." Linnea's response was to pull him into a kiss that defied both human and cerulean conventions of public behavior. When they parted, several nearby huntresses were staring, some with shock, others with knowing smiles. "Together," Linnea agreed, unimpressed. "Now come, the council awaits, and we have a war to plan." The council chamber hummed with tension as Adam stood before the assembled cerulean elders. Carved from the heart of an ancient tree, the circular room's walls were adorned with hunting trophies and ancestral weapons. Bioluminescent fungi cast everything in an ethereal blue glow that made the huntress's skin shimmer like living sapphires. "The Voidborn will attack in force within 3 days," Adam explained, pointing to the map he'd sketched in the dirt floor. "Their pattern is always the same. Scouts first, then raiding parties to test defenses, then the main assault." The matriarch leaned forward on her wooden throne. Our hunters are skilled, but we have always relied on the stealth and knowledge of the terrain. Open warfare is not our strength. Then we don't fight them openly, Adam replied. We combine your hunting expertise with human military tactics. He outlined his plan. Guerrilla strikes using the Ceruleans' knowledge of the jungle, coupled with strategic defensive positions based on ranger protocols. The huntresses would use their superior climbing abilities for ambushes from above, while ground forces would funnel the Voidborn into prepared kill zones. An intriguing strategy, Nexia admitted grudgingly. But the Voidborn outnumber us. Even with superior tactics, we cannot match their strength. That's why we need a force multiplier, Adam said. Something unexpected that gives us an advantage. Lanaya, who had been quietly observing, stepped forward. The Nexu, a murmur ran through the chamber. The matriarch raised an eyebrow. Explain. The Nexu we've captured, we could train them as battle companions, Lanaya suggested. They're fast, are fierce, and already hate the Voidborn scent. And Adam could show us how. Train Nexu? Nexia scoffed. They're untamable? So your people thought, Adam countered, until I caught one with my bare hands. The reference to his initial feat silenced the objections. The matriarch's lips curved in the ghost of a smile. Bold thinking from both of you, she acknowledged, but such training would take time we don't have. Not necessarily, Adam said. On my world, we have techniques for rapid animal conditioning. Combined with your people's natural affinity for the jungle predators, we could have a small Nexu force ready within 2 days. Eidos Council debated briefly before the matriarch raised her hand for silence. We will attempt this strategy. Nexia, select our strongest hunters for the ground defense. Ashara will coordinate the tree ambushes. She turned to Adam and Linnea. You two will oversee the Nexu training. As the meeting dispersed, Lanaya pulled Adam aside into a small alcove. There's something else we must discuss, she said, her voice low. Something personal. The intensity in her eyes made his pulse quicken. I'm listening. I wish to propose a bonding ceremony, she said directly. Before the battle. Adam blinked in surprise. Bonding? As in, marriage in your terms, though our ritual is different. Her blue fingers intertwined with his. It would make you officially part of the clan. No Cerulean could question your place among us after that. The proposal caught him completely off guard. Their connection had deepened rapidly, but this was a permanent step with cultural implications he barely understood. Lanaya, You need not answer immediately, she interrupted, but know that among my people, warriors often bond before battle. It is believed to strengthen both parties, linking their life forces. Is that why Nexia objected to us being together? She thought it would weaken you somehow? Lanaya shook her head. The opposite, she feared I would bond with you impulsively, and when you inevitably left, the broken bond would diminish me. Her expression softened. But I no longer believe you would leave. The simple faith in her statement humbled him. Adam cupped her face, marveling at how natural it felt to touch her alien skin. I wouldn't, he confirmed, but a bonding ceremony. Would your people accept it? Some already do. Others would come to accept it, in time. She leaned into his touch, especially after you helped save them from the Voidborn. Their conversation was interrupted by Nexia, who appeared at the alcove entrance. Her expression was unreadable as she observed their intimate posture. The Nexu enclosure is ready, she announced. And Lanaya, the matriarch, wishes to speak with you about traditional matters. The meaningful look between the sisters told Adam exactly what traditional matters meant. Word of Lanaya's bonding proposal had already reached the matriarch. After Lanaya departed, an awkward silence fell between Adam and Nexia. She is serious about this bonding, Nexia said finally. You understand what that means? I'm beginning to, Adam replied, though I suspect there's more to it than she's explained. Nexia studied him with new intensity. The bonding links life forces. If one dies in battle, the other feels it, physically, painfully. Some never recover from a broken bond. Is that why you opposed us? Fear that I'd die and leave her damaged? Partially. Nexia's admission surprised him. But I've seen you fight now, seen how you look at her. Perhaps you are worthy of a cerulean bond. Coming from Nexia, this was tantamount to a blessing. Adam inclined his head in acknowledgement. Thank you, that means more than you know. A hint of a smile touched her lips. Don't mistake me, human. If you hurt her, I'll still hunt you across the stars. The threat was delivered almost playfully. Now come, we have Nexu to tame. The Nexu training proved both more difficult and more rewarding than anticipated. Adam introduced techniques used by ranger animal handlers, while the ceruleans contributed their understanding of the creature's natural behaviors. By sunset, they'd made remarkable progress with 3 juvenile Nexu, who responded to basic commands and tolerated riders for short periods. As night fell, the settlement transformed. Huntresses adorned their bodies with bioluminescent paint in intricate patterns, symbolizing their readiness for battle. Weapons were blessed in ancient rituals, and songs of previous victories filled the air. In the midst of preparations, Linnea found Adam at the edge of the settlement, gazing at the stars. The matriarch has approved our bonding, she announced without preamble. If you still wish it. Adam turned to her, taking in her appearance. She wore ceremonial attire, more elaborate than her usual hunting leathers, with symbols he didn't recognize painted across her blue skin. I do, he said simply, though I'm still not entirely sure what I'm agreeing to. Linnea's laugh was musical. To be joined to me, to my clan, to our way of life. She stepped closer, her body radiating warmth in the cool night air. And I to you, to your people, to your customs. That sounds fair, he murmured, drawing her against him. When would this ceremony take place? Tomorrow at dawn, before final battle preparations. Her eyes searched his. It is unconventional. Some elders objected, but in times of war, traditions become flexible. Adam smiled. Like training Nexu as battle mounts? Exactly. She traced the line of his jaw. You've changed us already, Adam King. Your human adaptability, your willingness to attempt the impossible. These qualities fascinate us. You make it sound like I'm some kind of marvel, he said, slightly embarrassed by her praise. Aren't you? Linnea's expression grew serious. No way. Did you just catch the toughest creature to hunt with your bare hands? That was my first thought when I saw you with the Nexu. And since then, you've continued to achieve the impossible. Their lips met in a kiss that transcended their physical differences, a promise of the bond to come. Around them, the settlement prepared for war, but in that moment, there was only the two of them, bridging the gap between their worlds. Tomorrow would bring the bonding ceremony, followed by the final preparations for battle. The Voidborn threat loomed on the horizon, but for the first time since arriving on this planet, Adam felt complete certainty in his path forward. Whatever came next, they would face it together, human and cerulean, united in purpose and in heart. Dawn broke over the cerulean settlement in a wash of amber and rose. In the sacred grove at the village center, Adam stood before the matriarch dressed in ceremonial attire that blended human and cerulean elements. His ranger insignia paired with tribal markings painted on his skin in luminescent blue. Across from him, Linnea appeared in traditional bonding garments, intricate leather wrappings adorned with Nexu teeth and polished stones that caught the morning light. Her white hair was braided with small blossoms that released a sweet, intoxicating scent when she moved. The bonding ritual is ancient, the matriarch intoned, her voice carrying to the gathered clan members. It predates our written history, connecting us to our ancestors and to each other. She raised an ornate knife, its blade carved from a single piece of translucent crystal. Today, we witness a union unprecedented in our clan's memory. A daughter of the Ceruleans and a son of Earth. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Not all faces showed approval, but Adam noted with satisfaction that Nexia stood at the front, her expression solemn but accepting. Join hands, the matriarch commanded. Adam extended his palm, and Linnea placed hers atop it. The contrast between his tan skin and her azure blue struck him anew. Different, yet perfectly complementary. With practiced precision, the matriarch drew the crystal blade across their joined palms. The cut was shallow but stung sharply. Their blood mingled, crimson and indigo swirling together in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Blood of two worlds, now one, the matriarch declared. "Speak your intentions?" Lanaya's eyes locked with his. "I bind myself to you, Atom of Earth, in battle and in peace, in triumph and in hardship. Your enemies are mine, your victories mine to celebrate. Where you go, I follow. What you build, I strengthen." The traditional words carried deeper meaning now that war loomed on the horizon. Adam responded with the vow Lanaya had taught him the night before. "I bind myself to you, Lanaya of the Cerulean Hunters, in battle and in peace, in triumph and in hardship. Your clan is my clan, your world, my world to protect. What divides us makes us stronger together." The matriarch wrapped a woven cord around their bleeding hands, binding them physically as the ritual bound them spiritually. "What the ancestors have witnessed cannot be undone," she proclaimed. "You are now one in the eyes of the clan, your life forces intertwined until the final hunt claims you both." A cheer erupted from the gathered huntresses, startling Adam with its enthusiasm. Even those who had been skeptical seemed moved by the ceremony's simple power. The matriarch raised her hands for silence. "Celebrate briefly, for war approaches. When the sun reaches its peak, we face the Voidborn." As the crowd dispersed to make final preparations, Nexia approached the newly bonded pair. "Brother," she acknowledged Adam with a formal nod. "May your aim be true today." The title, a recognition of his new place in their family structure, caught him by surprise. "Sister," he replied, matching her formality, "may your hunt be successful." A hint of a smile touched her lips. "It will be. I have a human's strategy and Nexu at my command." She clasped Lanaya's shoulder briefly before departing to oversee the final defensive preparations. "That went better than expected," Adam observed once they were alone. Lanaya touched their still-joined hands, where the ritual cord had been replaced with a permanent woven band. "The bond is already working. Can you feel it?" He could. A subtle awareness of her presence, like a compass needle always pointing true north. More than that, he sensed her emotions, anticipation, determination, and a fierce joy that matched his own. "It's incredible," he admitted. "Is it always this intense?" "It will deepen with time," she explained. "During battle, it will help us fight as one." The reminder of the impending conflict sobered them both. They separated to don their battle gear. Lanaya in her hunting leathers, Adam in the lightweight cerulean armor he'd been given. By midday, the settlement had transformed into a fortress. Huntresses positioned themselves in the trees surrounding the main approach, while others prepared ambush points along the jungle pass. The newly trained Nexu paced restlessly, sensing the coming battle. Adam mounted his Nexu, the largest of the juveniles, which he'd named Shadow for its dark mottled coat. The creature had bonded with him surprisingly quickly, responding to commands with eager intelligence. Lanaya appeared beside him on her own mount, a sleek female with unusual silver markings. The scouts report movement to the north, a large force, moving quickly. "Then it's time." Adam surveyed their preparations one last time. "Remember the plan. Let them commit to the central approach before springing the ambush." She nodded, reaching across to squeeze his hand briefly. Through their bond, he felt her unwavering confidence in him, in them. The waiting was always the hardest part. Minutes stretched into an hour as the jungle fell unnaturally silent. Then came the first signs: disturbed foliage, faint chittering sounds, the acrid scent that accompanied Voidborn. "Hold!" Adam signaled to the hidden huntresses. The first wave of Voidborn emerged from the jungle, twisted gray-skinned creatures moving with unnatural speed. They paused at the settlement's edge, sensing the trap but unable to locate it. "Now!" Adam shouted. The ambush erupted with devastating precision. Arrows rained from above as Nexu-mounted warriors charged from concealed positions. The Voidborn, caught in the crossfire, fell by dozens. Adam and Lanaya fought side by side, their movements perfectly synchronized through their bond. Where one attacked, the other defended. When one advanced, the other covered the retreat. Their Nexu responded to the slightest commands, tearing through enemy ranks with a savage efficiency. The battle raged for hours, the tide turning repeatedly as Voidborn reinforcements arrived. Just when victory seemed within reach, a massive Voidborn commander, twice the size of its soldiers, broke through their lines, heading straight for Nexia's position. Adam spurred Shadow forward, intercepting the creature before it could reach her. The impact threw him from his mount, sending him crashing into the underbrush. Pain exploded through his chest as claws raked across his armor. Through the bane, he felt Linaya's panic. "Adam!" she screamed, both aloud and through their connection. The Voidborn commander loomed over him, its grotesque face splitting in what might have been a smile. As it raised its claws for a killing blow, Nexia's spear pierced its side, staggering it. "Get up, brother!" she shouted, engaging the creature with furious speed. Adam rolled to his feet, drawing his sword despite the searing pain in his ribs. Together with Nexia, he drove the commander back, their contrasting fighting styles confusing the creature. When Linaya joined them, the outcome was inevitable. The three warriors, human and cerulean, fighting as one, overwhelmed the Voidborn commander. It fell with Adam's blade in its throat and the sisters' spears in its heart. With their leader fallen, the remaining Voidborn scattered into the jungle, pursued by Nexu-riding huntresses who ensured none escaped to report back. In the battle's aftermath, Adam collapsed against a tree, the adrenaline fading to reveal the extent of his injuries. Through their bond, Linnea felt his pain as her own, rushing to his side. "I thought I'd lost you," she whispered, applying healing salve to his wounds. "Not a chance," he managed through gritted teeth. "The bond told me you were coming, gave me strength to hold on." Nexia joined them, her own injuries evident but less severe. "You fight well for a human," she admitted, the words no longer an insult but genuine praise. "The clan owes you a blood debt." "We owe each other," Adam corrected. "This victory belongs to both our peoples." 3 months later, Adam stood on the landing pad of New Terra Colony, watching a cerulean transport ship descend gracefully from the clouds. At his side, Linaya vibrated with excitement, her blue skin adorned with new markings that denoted her status as clan ambassador. "They're nervous," she confided, sensing the emotions of her kinswomen aboard the ship. "Most have never left our world." "They'll adapt," Adam assured her, "just as you did." The past months had been transformative for both their peoples. After the Voidborn defeat, the Cerulean Council had unanimously approved a formal alliance with the human colony. Trade routes were established, cultural exchanges began, and joint defense protocols were implemented. Most significantly, a new settlement was under construction at the jungle's edge, a place where humans and Ceruleans could live together, learning from each other's strengths. The transport landed and Nexia emerged first, looking uncharacteristically uncomfortable in the unfamiliar environment. When she spotted them, her posture relaxed slightly. "Brother, sister," she greeted them. "This human air smells strange." "You'll get used to it," Linnea laughed, embracing her. Behind Nexia came the matriarch herself, making her first journey off-world at the impressive age of 160 cycles. With her traveled a delegation of huntresses, healers, and crafters, all volunteering to help establish the joint settlement. Most surprising of all, several brought juvenile Nexu, the beginning of what would become the legendary Nexu Ranger Corps that would one day defend human and Cerulean worlds alike. As Adam led the delegation toward the colony center, he caught Linnea watching him with undisguised affection. "What?" he asked through their bond, which had grown stronger with each passing day. "I was just remembering," she replied silently. "That day in the jungle when I found you with that at Nexu. The look on my face must have been priceless." Adam grinned, recalling her shocked expression. "No way! Did you just catch the toughest creature to hunt with your bare hands?" He quoted her first astonished words to him. "Who could have imagined where that moment would lead us?" She mused, taking his hand as they walked. "I did," he said simply. "The moment I saw you, I knew my life had changed forever." Behind them, humans and Ceruleans, once separated by suspicion and misunderstanding, walked together toward a shared future. And it had all begun with a human who refused to be turned away, a Nexu caught with bare hands, and a blue-skinned huntress brave enough to see beyond differences to the heart beneath.